What's going on, everybody? It is your man Cleveland Terry, and today we're going to be talking about this guy right behind me. This is the Gigbar Move. Now, full disclosure before I even begin, I have never been a T-bar style lighting fan. I've always preferred to have other things like trusses. However, even though I'm not a fan of the T-bar stand, I am a fan of convenience. And this Gigbar Move here is very convenient. Let's talk about it. Okay, first off, if you're new here, welcome. We talk about tech, all things DJ related, gig logs, training, and reviews. If that sounds like something good to you, hit that subscribe button below and make sure you hit that notification bell so you know every time I post new content. All right, I don't want to keep this video too long. We're going to try to keep this video under 10 minutes. So let's get to talking about it. We bought two of these Gigbars about 3 weeks ago. Before we purchased the Gigbar Move, we used kind of a hybrid Frankenstein system, coupled with like the Intimidator Spot Duo 150 and then a Chauvet Swarm effects. And that would provide enough lighting with the moving heads, plus the Swarm would give you just enough lighting for the smaller events. But when you start to move up to larger events, well, you got to get larger lighting. Okay, so before we start going into any of the negatives, before we start talking about any problems I've had with it, let's talk about all the good things that I like about it. First of all, I love the fact that it has the color washes and the moving heads. These are the two things that are pretty much a standard on any type of mobile event. The derbies, the laser, I could live without. You guys know I've talked about the derbies. I am not a fan of the derbies because photographers aren't fans of derbies. Because when they're taking pictures and they're trying to create moments and take that perfect picture, the last thing they want to see on a bride's wedding gown is blue, pink, and purple polka dots all over her body. So I prefer to use color washes and then moving heads, because at least with the moving heads, even if there is a design behind them, it's going to be a fixed color, and typically by the time it hits the middle of the dance floor, the light is spread enough to where it still looks very much like a color wash, just a moving color wash. Maybe it's just me, maybe you like them, cool. Also, along with the derby and the laser, you do have your LED strobe bar right here. Now, these don't add too much, but what they do add is an ambiance. So if you're looking at the DJ and this thing is sitting behind the DJ, just that extra lighting, especially in dark environments, is really going to look really, really cool from the dance floor. Along with the Gigbar, you do receive a tripod stand and a foot switch, so you can use a foot switch and control it. There's a remote control also, but for whatever reason, there's still not an actual physical off and on switch on the device. I don't know why people keep doing this. I don't want to pull out the plug to turn off the light. I just want an off and on switch. Come on, guys, do better. I love that this is DMX controllable, but I will say that the auto program and sound program are some of the best design programs I've ever used. You don't even need to program these things via DMX. They'll do all the things you need them to do, plus Totem Mode, which means that the light fixture will remain in front of you and not go back behind you, above you. It's gonna stay right here to right here, and obviously it'll go up and down. Imagine a box on the dance floor, like a window, and it's gonna shoot within that window the whole time. Love the totem. We'll talk about that too. What I don't like, I'm so happy that there are moving heads on here. However, these moving heads are adequate at best. These are, and I couldn't believe it when I looked at the specs for the Gigbar Move. What they have quoted here is these are 10-watt LED moving heads. Now, let's just keep that in perspective here, because your Intimidator Spot Duo 155, which I thought these are 32 watts. Now, even if you were to split them up and say, fine, 32 watts total, you're still getting 16 watts per light. These are only giving you 10 watts, which means that when you're dealing with a larger crowd, these things are gonna get, sorry for the terminology, they're gonna get washed out. There's not gonna be any clarity to the gobos and to the patterns. They will be there, they will appear, but they will appear very, very dull. The moving heads that I use, and I pretty much only use moving heads with occasional uplighting and color washes. My Intimidator LED 350s are 75 watts. So just understand the difference. 10 watts to 75 watts. That's a huge difference, which means that I can run just my moving heads on a dance floor and they are going to be bright, they're going to be crisp. You're not really gonna need much more of anything. So I can run them off 2 moving heads if I so choose, and I do a lot of the time. 10 watts, very, very low, very disappointing. Now these are actually, even though they're 10 watts, they're pretty powerful. As a matter of fact, these are probably the best things on the truss. These actually work. The color washes are strong, they're powerful. They are RGB plus UV, which is very good, which means you're gonna have a lot of variation in your color palette. If you want to create some sort of a static or custom color, that UV is going to give you that pop that you're looking for. So you got the red, green, blue, you mix those, and then the UV will just bring the light to life. Love these. These derbies actually are smaller than the derbies you would buy as a standalone light. So what's happening here is that they're providing you with all the necessary things, but they're all compromised. They're all shrink down to this kind of miniaturized, movable fixture. It looks good on paper and it looks good in a small, super dark room. But the moment you introduce it in a big room, and I know you're thinking, why would I use this in a big room? Because a lot of people think that this is all they need for a big room, and it's not. You're gonna need far more light to really power a big room. Now, maybe if you got 2 of them, maybe. I know that's a package they're selling, 2 of them. I don't know if they would work or not, but I do know you need more than 1. But I know for a lot of people, this is an upgrade to whatever they were using before, which is probably a single fixture, maybe a swarm or something like that, and now they're upgrading to something else. So for you guys, this is a great light. So here's an example of this guy in a kind of a standard lighting area. We're outside, so there's some trees, there's no roof, nothing to help kind of bounce that light off back to the dance floor. Now, here's my example of just my Intimidator LED 75 watt moving fixtures. Again, outside, nothing to bounce off of, straight on the dance floor. And then as you can see in the trees, you can see the detail that's popping from those trees, and those trees are far away. Last but not least, the one thing that really, really concerns me, and I'm hoping that it doesn't get worse, but right now the track record is speaking for itself. Before I say this, I know some of you guys aren't having any of these problems. As I said before, we bought 2 of these on the same day about 3 weeks ago. The first one we took out of the box to use that night, one of the moving heads did not work. Light dead. Still moved, but the light was dead. So that was a problem. Then the zipper on the case started to give. One of the biggest issues with the Gigbar Move is a very, very simple one, something that they should have fixed, because I've been dealing with this exact same thing for all of their custom fitted bags. The zippers. The zippers break super easy. They are super, super cheap. Both zippers on both sides are busted. So now I gotta do some duct taping and magic to make it happen so I can make sure that the stuff is inside is actually not gonna break. The cases they provide are some of the shoddiest cases on the planet. Every one of my Intimidator Spot duos has a busted case. This was over 1 weekend where we lost the zipper. 1 weekend of zipping it and unzipping it. Nothing special, just unzipping and zipping. The zipper's already broken. The last thing is you noticed that when I was kind of moving this, this turned itself, okay? That's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to happen because this is supposed to be attached to the pole and then tightened. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, but their pole is useless. So it's really cheap, it's really light, it's super cheap aluminum, and I prefer to put it on a better stand. This attaches very similar to a speaker on a speaker pole mount. As a matter of fact, if I lift it up, you can see right there, just like a speaker pole mount. There's your hole, just fits right in and slides right down. This part right here is supposed to be a screw, and you're supposed to be able to tighten this screw up and it locks it into place so it doesn't rock back and forth. This, on the first weekend that we owned it, broke off. Now, I just have to leave it dangling. Now, of course, it goes deep enough to where I'm not concerned about it falling over or breaking, but I'm gonna have to find something to replace this, or maybe Chauvet will send it out. But there are metal pieces right here, and it feels like it is completely detached from the metal. So that is another problem. By the way, all of these things can be moved 360 degrees around. These guys get super loose for whatever reason, so you have to tighten them every single time. Just during transport, they will just get loose and you'll pick it up and then this thing will almost be dangling. So you have to be aware of those types of things. Now, as I said before, the program, this is just a program mode and it's cycling through all the programs right now. But what I was saying before, this totem mode keeps everything right in front so you don't run into an issue where the lights are shining behind. They never shine behind in totem mode. This is very, very, very good programming. I'm a big fan of this. Also, what you can do if you're not a derby fan like me, is you can take this guy and just lift them up. And if you're dealing with, if you have a ceiling, you're inside a room, this can be on the ceiling and provide a little ambiance for the ceiling. Meanwhile, you're not projecting any lighting onto the dance floor and ruining the photographer's shots. So this is it. Like I said before, convenient, super, super convenient. And that's why if you're gonna buy one, you buy one. But you don't buy this light thinking it's going to replace all of your better lights and be lighter in your car. That's not what this is. You are basically compromising when you use this light. Now, for smaller events, easy. If I have to choose between this and my moving heads for a small party, I'm taking these guys any day of the week. But anything larger, anything where I want a little more control, I'm definitely going to use my larger moving heads. A couple of side notes, I did use this with Light Rider. It found it perfectly and it was able to control everything. It's got 3 DMX settings, one simple, one detailed, and one like super detailed. The simple one pretty much only controls programming. The second one is the one which will get into details and you'll be able to break down exactly what you want. But even though I have complaints about it, I'm still a fan. There is definitely a use case for this light. The Gigbar currently sells for around $900. If you were to piece out the moving heads and the color washes, you'd definitely be paying more than that, but you'd also be getting a brighter light source. So again, compromise. However, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I just wish it had a light switch. I wish that these guys were brighter. And I wish that it had maybe either these were color washes or these were additional moving heads. Then it would be the perfect Gigbar. All right, guys, let me know in the comments below what you're using. Are you using a Gigbar? And if you are, what has been your experience with the product? If you're looking at something else, let me know what you're looking at. If you found what I said are useful, hit that like button. If you found what I said are really useful, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on the Instagrams and Twitters. Get on my Discord, because that's where we're talking about all things Cleveland Terry. And of course, the Wake Up in Cleveland show on Twitch. Guys, girls, always a pleasure. If I don't talk to you later, we'll talk soon. Peace.